So you can scrub all
Yeah,
that.
it'll be a blooper reel.
We're just having fun, like catching
Yeah.
up, right? I don't care what you do.
Bonjour, everybody. I'll say in French. This is Richard, aka Uncle Pho, and today on our first Pho talk is my first guest ever, Geoff Wells. Say hi, Jeff.
Hi, Richard. How are you doing today?
Good, good, good. And you, it's you're done with your lunchtime.
I am. It's evening time over there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I saw you were drinking a soft drink.
I was. I had a little bit of Chick-fil-A for lunch. Not the
Mm,
healthiest thing in the world, but very delicious. So
it's so good. It's all good.
I
So
swam this morning.
yeah, it's a good excuse. All right, let's start this Pho talk. So how it's gonna work? I'm gonna ask you some initial questions related to Pho. I bet you have some questions for me, and then we'll just go with this conversation about my trip. I know you have tons of questions and you're passionate about them. So let's just kick it off. First question I have to ask is, have you ever eaten Pho before?
So I've had pho once, so I'm a pho newbie. I'm watching all your videos on YouTube, and then I see how much of a pho newbie I am. So it was actually a few years ago with some friends at a restaurant here in Syracuse, New York. I remember it being very good. I don't remember a ton about it other than that. So
Okay, okay. But what did you like about it or disliked about it then?
I thought the broth was really good. I was anticipating the broth not being anything special, and the restaurant that we went to had a pretty strong base broth that I really enjoyed.
And just for the audience to know about Geoff a bit, I forgot to introduce him. We met each other in Gwangju 2019 at the Masters Swimming Championships. That's how I met him through another guy that we're going to have in this interview or this Pho talk. His name is Dave Landry. And Geoff, if you don't know him, he's allergic to everything that's Asian. And he came to Asia to swim, but he couldn't eat what shrimp.
Shellfish or fish.
So
I know
how did you
it's a
muster the
challenge. It was a challenging Asian trip for sure.
yeah? But how did you muster the courage to eat pho, knowing for the fact it's Asian and there might be some fish sauce in it?
So that was the diciest part by far. Luckily, being at least in a U.S. based restaurant, most of the people spoke English quite well, and we had other friends that had been there quite frequently. So it wasn't as big of a concern, at least being here. But certainly in Korea, where there was a major language barrier, presented problems on the eating front.
Yeah, and you were eating a lot of fast food, right? If I remember.
Yeah, not ideal for competition, but it allowed me to get at least some sort of nutrition in that was um,
Decent for performance.
I was able to handle. Yeah, I was able to handle, but not ideal for sure.
Yeah, but you still got
Japan
the
2022 will be
Japan
Japan
22 is
2022 will be hard.
yeah, but you still got the gold medal in your group category, like your age category in the 50 breast.
I did. It was a good last day of the competition.
Yeah, but
We had
if
fun that night as well.
oh for sure that will not talk about it. But you still have the videos with you or
Of the what videos
the
of that
karaoke?
night? Oh, of course I do.
Oh, you have to share them with me. I have to see them. I just have like Dave's and videos, I think.
Let me make a note real quick.
Oh man, it's gonna stay between us, or I have to. Do you want me to publish it?
Uh, that's up to you. I don't
Okay.
care. I'll send you. I think I have an album on my Google Photos. I'll send you a link to the album after we get done with this.
Okay, cool.
Just if anything's too crazy, don't post anything too crazy.
No, no, I'll keep it PG. Not even just G.
Okay.
I'll keep it G
Yeah,
level.
just G.
Just G.
It was
that
a
when your
good. It was a
kids-
good night.
Yes, it's true. No one else will ever do. Step by step. Ooh, baby, you're always on my mind.
Are you still but still talking about pho? Are you still motivated or enticed to eat another pho eventually?
I am. So there's this noodle house that's not too far from where I live, and I've heard it's fantastic. But I drive by all the time, but I've never actually gone. So I think I'm inspired by all your videos at this point, where I'm gonna have to stop in once once restaurants are open and we're able to actually sit down and eat without a ton of restrictions, I think I'm going to have to go give it a try.
Yeah. But ask them
So
if they don't put.
you're inspiring me.
Oh no! Yes, one more person in the nation, the Pho nation. But ask them about the fish sauce, because sometimes they add fish sauce into the broth, and that's not a good thing for you, right?
That would be bad. That's certainly, I had basically usually at a restaurant like that, I'll ask to make sure there's no fish or oyster sauce in any of the broths. So usually they're pretty good and say, don't eat this one, don't eat this one, don't eat this one, and we'd recommend you have this one instead. But it's just when traveling internationally, it's pretty tough.
Yeah, because for Japan, oh, what can you eat? Beef?
Yeah, beef and rice is fine. I feel like Japan's going to be a little more, and again, maybe this is me being naive because I've never been to Japan, but I feel like it's going to be more, you will know it's fish or you will know it's not fish. Well, at this point, you're going to be there. You're going to be fluent in Japanese by the time I get there. Okay, exactly. I'm going to have a translator. I'm going to have a food connoisseur to show me the road.
Yeah,
I'm going to be all set.
Let's continue on. So quickly about yourself, just for the public, is that you have a financial advisor background, or your current job is that?
Yeah, I have a small financial advisory firm that myself and my business partner run here in Syracuse, New York.
Yeah.
So we help individuals and families with their financial needs.
Cool. And you had some initial questions, then because of that background you had some questions for me about my current trip. Let's do a thematic with that and just keep on the conversation.
Absolutely. I've just always been intrigued since last summer, whenever we last met, that you were planning this trip and planning it for many years. And it's great coming from my perspective, where I get to ask people later in life what money means to them and what they want to do in retirement, and all those type of questions that you get to ask someone that's retiring. And oftentimes it's travel and go see the world and do things, but most people don't, or they wait until their 60s and 70s to try to do this. I think it's fantastic that you've taken the multi-year step and saving and planning for this journey and this life experience that you'll both grow from personally, and then obviously look back on and remember for the rest of your life. Both good and bad things, but the good things will filter to the top more than the day-to-day monotony that sometimes happens. But I really just want you to to learn a little bit more about your experience. When did this trip come up? So when did you really want to start to do a multi-year trip?
Yeah.
How long ago was it? How long did it take to save for that?
Yeah, sure. And it's funny enough, that question, because that's my next blog post, is my motivation or what made me do this trip. So in a nutshell, after Gwangju, once we came back to Goro, Canada, I said to I really like swimming internationally. Like, it was really fun meeting other swimmers, yes, other people, but more swimmers, because it's easy to connect with the same sport, right? So for example, those French guys that we met at the karaoke place, right? Randomly, they were swimmers, and then we just had fun with them. Here in Canada, I like to compete in different cities, even though they're maybe 3 hours away or in a different province. I was that type of competitor that went pretty far as an amateur just to compete for fun. I think it started that little flame of saying, hey, this is fun, going somewhere else to swim instead of within Canada. Then what happened is that during the end of 2019, I'm hearing my friends talking about, hey, Richard, I'm thinking of quitting my job and going on a sabbatical. I'm like, holy crap. Okay. Like people are thinking about this, and they're younger than me, but close to my age, in their 30, 32s, 33s, right? So they were talking about it often to me. I was saying oh, this seems super interesting, taking a sabbatical. And my family knows this about me. I'm this type of nomad that can't stay in the same area for a very long time. So, and they knew about me in my younger years that I wanted to expat myself, be an expatriate to New Zealand. I was always talking about it. And then my friends were talking about it during the New Year. Before New Year, after New Year's, I was thinking about it. I said to myself, hey, Richard, you don't have a house anymore. You don't have debt. You have tons of money on the side. Nothing's holding you back. And that's when I started to really look at my financials, start budgeting, like, okay, this is how much I'm spending per month in Canada. Can I correlate this into a monthly or multi-year travel? And doing just some quick math, extrapolating, doing some reverse engineering and mathematics, I said to myself, I can make this happen and still have money left for my retirement. That was the important part. I wanted to keep money just as a buffer for future retirement.
Sure, it's about, I use the term often, balance. So it's
Yeah.
about balancing your spending now and saving for the future. Certainly, that's a great unpacking of how you've got from that initial thought to actually taking the leap. And a lot of people think about it, talk about it, but never actually take the leap. How did you determine how long you wanted to stay? Was that budget based, or was that
It's a mix.
based on different events?
Yeah, it's so initially when I thought about this trip, my goal was for Fukuoka 2021 to be ready for it. So initially I want to do less than a year so that I get ready for Fukuoka 2021 and swim at the Masters, right? But then it got moved to 2022. So that changed my plans. But I still wanted to do Fukuoka through my travel. So I had to calculate, because how long can I stay outside of Canada before losing my health insurance? Because we have universal healthcare, and there's a limit depending on how many months you're out of per year. That if you're more than, I'll say 6 months, but I think it's 183 days outside of Quebec, I lose the right or the privilege. I'll say the privilege to have universal healthcare. And if, let's say, it goes above that and I come back to the country, I have to wait 6 months to renew it. So that came into it was the money and how long could I stay outside of Quebec.
Gotcha. And how long is your current trip planned? You've been in France since when? And what's your remaining itinerary?
So,
though it's always changing due to COVID.
Yeah, so I left in October. I was planning to be outside of Canada for 21 months because I can do there's a lot of legality to do 21 months, but I'm fine with it. So it was 21 months. So my initial plan was Europe in general, to finish in Budapest in June 2021 for the European Masters. Then go to APAC, so Asian Pacific, to go watch the Olympics, Tokyo 2021. Then Tokyo, maybe South Korea, Australia, New Zealand, something in that area. Then finish back in Fukuoka to beat you in 50 breast.
What are you aging up for Fukuoka? I may be in a different age group now.
Oh, I'll be 39. Yeah, I'm not aging up.
Oh, so Fukuoka, the delay actually helped me there. So I'll be 39 and a half, but I get to swim because I have a December birthday. So I get to swim 40 to 44. So
you age up.
I'm looking forward to the delay. It's okay. We'll still have a swim off based on time.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna still crush me, but that's okay.
That's all right.
Yeah, that's okay.
We'll have fun.
Yeah.
It's all about just the fun competition. So tell me about your overall experience with your trip thus far. Are you staying both on the financial side and then just life, because 2020 has happened the way 2020 has. So, are you staying within budget of what you kind of initially planned? And also just in general, what's your experience been thus far, ups and downs?
Yeah. So budget wise, how I initially budgeted, I budgeted with tons of risk. So there's like a 20% risk so I had my baseline budget and I put a 20% risk to it. So that just in case I go to a country that inflation goes up, like up the wahoo, or something happens, I'm covered. So technically I'm still under budget, especially with this month's confinement in November in France. I did nothing. So I couldn't spend. I just spent on food and rent and Netflix. That's it. So I'm like super under budget because I have an entertainment line in my budget. I have a general ledger called budget. And if not, so first month of France was good in terms of training. It went really first week was atrocious. I just came into a club that's way too strong for me and I had to catch up. But my last 10 days was going really well with them. Like I was seeing the improvement. The coach was on me all the time in terms of like technique. So that helped a lot. If not experience-wise, I had the chance still to explore France amid the COVID situation. I went to Paris. I went to Toulouse. I went to the city called Sète, and I was planning to go to Lyon and Bordeaux afterwards, but then my confinement hit. But I had 2 more cities left in my planning to go visit. A lot of French people, they love my accent. They're like, "Oh, you're Canadian, so cute. We don't understand what you're saying, but oh, look at you, blah blah blah."
But at least you're able to understand them. I think that's far more than most people that visit France. You can, even if they may not be able to completely understand every word that you're saying,
Yeah.
you understand their accent.
But how did you manage in Korea? Did you use like Google Translate like I did and try to point stuff on a map, or?
You get a lot of communication over just pointing and smiling and nodding your head, and you can get pretty far that way.
And I remember in your travel, you had a homestay event, right? Like you did a homestay thing.
I did. It was probably the only actually Korean meal I was able to eat because they actually prepared it. It was just a homestay. I went over for like an early dinner and then got to meet their family, and it was a really great experience to actually meet someone that lives in Gwangju as opposed to just being a pure tourist in a city that you don't speak the language. So it was really great just to be able to meet people that actually live in the area, and they were nice enough to cook me a fantastic Korean meal with the dietary restrictions that I have.
Yeah. What did they offer you?
And that was the day before the 50 breasts. So
that's why you ate.
It worked. It worked.
Yeah. But me too. Dave's and my 50 breasts were like almost like mine was best time. Now Dave was very close to his best time because we ate super spicy food. I think that's the magic.
It's good to end on a 52. Doesn't really hurt. Yeah. It's the last day. It's just great to have swimming as a reason to travel. I think more.
Yeah, it's like a good gateway. I see it as a gateway drug into traveling. I had a question for you, Geoff. What is your definition about financial freedom?
For me, I have a career that I enjoy. I have the ability to work as much or as little as I want to. So I'm extremely, first of all, fortunate in that. I don't ever want to be to a point where I'm just sitting around not doing anything. So I have a job where I'm able to help people and earn a level of money. So from that aspect, I'm not financially independent where I don't have to work, but I enjoy what I'm doing as far as work and have the ability to have a really good work-life balance. So I think it depends on the person. Some people, financial freedom means they can just say, or financial independence, that I can quit my job forever and never have to work again and have enough assets. For some people, it's just, I got to the level of doing what you have, and I can for the next year or two, I have the ability to do whatever I want, and I'm going to do that and enjoy life in that aspect. So I think it's different for every person, but for me, it's just doing something you love to do, helping people. And
I know you have other questions for me, so just go for it.
I always find fascinating is just as a person, you're going to grow so much from this trip. And I know long trips also tend to have like monotonous, boring days that seem like they drag on forever. I'm sure, especially during lockdown, you've experienced that. But if you fast forward 20 months from now, when this is all over, what are the things you have hoped to have accomplished or hope to have learned, or there's going to be surprises along the way, but what do you want to take away from this 21-month journey that you're on?
Wow. So my first takeaway is to see how independent I can be without family support. I stayed in Quebec. Yes, I moved around, but I'm still very close to my mom and my sister very much. And I think you saw it in my interactions with my sister. It's quite nuts sometimes. So we're very tight. So I wanted to see how good I am. First of all, is to be independent a bit more from my family in terms of just physically being close to them, to see, and also how can I manage without nobody helping me. So being in another country, I'm like pretty much on my own. And it made me think that's how my mom and my family did when they immigrated to Canada. They just got plumped in a different country without knowing the language in winter, just to add, and still managed to have a job, kids, and now being retired. So I said to myself, can I do have the same courage as what my mom did when she moved to Canada? In my case is, can I do the same as just go to a different country, be plopped there, and just hope for the best? In my case, I'm lucky enough. I had like, right, I have the money. I have a lot of money on the side to help me out. Internet is helping a lot to get better information. But I asked myself, can I have the same courage as what my mom or immigrant families do into a different country without knowing what to do and just be on their own? So I want to see how far can I go with this. And the other thing, more about the swimming part, is just understand how other countries swim. Because already I see here in France, they have a different structure of planning, training, and how they see technique versus what I see in my teams in Canada. So I want to see culturally, like lifestyle versus sports, what's the main difference? And just, and also my secondary goal with this is to see which country I would like to move to as an expat. Because
Yeah,
I'm doing
no, that's
doing
great.
test runs. I'm doing a test run. That's what I'm doing. There you go.
Well, and a lot of people are, afraid to get out of their comfort zones
Oh yeah,
and
for
to
sure.
do that. So I applaud you just for taking that leap. And it's certainly never all roses and sunny every day, but I think you're going to get so much out of it as a person versus just staying with the status quo that you were previously doing. And yeah, it's I'm just I get to live vicariously through you at this point, I guess. And I have goals to do something similar, not quite as long as yours, but I get to learn from you as well on the experience.
Because like if I remember our discussions that you want at least once per year for a full month with your whole family to be in a different country so that your kids have an exposure to different cultures, correct?
Yeah, so I'm from the United States, so we depending on where you live in the United States, it can tend to be a pretty isolated, closed place where many people haven't taken a trip abroad and have only a U.S. focused view as opposed to a global focused view. And I have two young girls that are almost 6 and 3.5, and during over the next 10 plus years of their life, I want them to grow up and understand that not everybody is the same as we are, and that's okay, and that there's different places in the world that have people think differently, and there's no better way to do that than just to go abroad and experience with that. And
Yeah.
I don't have the ability, or I don't know if I'm quite ready to go for a full out 2 years abroad or even a year abroad, but certainly on summer vacations that would be an easy task to do for a slower travel and getting to know different places and doing it the same way you are through swimming and through connections that you make through that. And it just breaks down those barriers, and you get help to become local a lot
Yeah.
sooner than you would otherwise.
Yeah. And just talking about travel and like other cultures, what hit me most when I went to South Korea, especially, is the fact that English is not it's not a world language at all. I was expecting, Koreans, like, because of like what I see on K-pop a bit, they can talk sort of English. No way, right? Like it's pretty unilingual. They speak Korean. They even like, you try to just say something, there's like what you're talking about, just for taxi, like just the taxi drivers, just to go to our village, athlete village was hell. So we had to use Google Translate, and it really shocked me. It's like, okay, not all countries can speak English.
Yeah, and I think that was my first non-European trip, and it was the first country I visited that doesn't use the same alphabet that we do. So
Yeah.
I think that was the biggest driver of, even if it's written in Latin characters, is that the correct term? I don't know what the correct term is, but if it's written in ABC type language,
yeah, Romanized. They say Romanized alphabet.
Yeah, Roman characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, if even if it's written that way, it doesn't mean anything to them. Just like if something was written in Hangul means anything to us.
Yeah.
So even if we try to say it and pronounce it, we're gonna not say it correctly, and it definitely created a barrier. But I look back on that week, a year plus later, and it was there's ups and downs just like anything, but it was a great experience overall. I mean, and I'm a different person for just that week, so I can't imagine what you have in store for you the next 20 plus months. Great. What's the so you're heading to Tenerife relatively soon at this point, depending on whenever this gets posted. You may already be there.
Yeah.
What's the plan for that location?
I'll stay there at least for a month to see what happens with COVID, because I learned my lesson in France that it's not a good idea to plan too long in advance. So I'll go month by month instead of 2 months, 3 months at a time. So I'll do the first month. If it's okay, I do another month and another month until winter is over, because I don't want to see snow. Like, I'm done. So, so I'll wait until snow is over in Europe, and then I'll just go to another European country, maybe, like I said, Austria, but just go back to Europe, maybe Sweden, somewhere in Europe, just going back east so that I move slowly to Asia.
You didn't go to Hungary for Worlds 2017, did you?
No.
Duna Arena is I believe my favorite pool in the world. So
Oh, yeah?
if you watch any of the International Swimming League, and that facility is absolutely amazing, and Budapest is just perfectly set up for swimming competitions.
So I'll go month by month and see what's going to happen. And
I know you mentioned before you have some, long term. I'm not going to call you out and make you present your goals here for this trip, but swimming goals. There's been a lockdown in France at this point. What have you been doing in the meantime to really stay in shape and stay fit and ready to get back in the water when you're able to?
I've been running outside and doing some dry land training outside and in the apartment, like running upstairs, doing squats, jump squats, push-ups. I know I've been doing a lot of core workout. So doing the plank, I got better at the plank. I used to be terrible at it. Now it's getting easy. For my psyche, I've been watching more the ISL swim meets so that I just keep my drive of swimming. I just miss the chlorine smell, honestly. That chlorine smell, and just getting ready to get into a cold pool. I miss that moment when I just jump in the pool and just go at it. That's the part I miss the most.
Yeah, so I was finding it interesting, how there's no right or wrong way for most people to spend money. Everybody does it differently, and just planning for a big 21-month long international trip. I think what's your thus far your best purchase that you've had, and also your worst purchase for this trip?
Okay. Best purchase. Honestly, my suitcase. All the suitcases I had weren't mine, were my mom's or my sister's. So technically I didn't have a suitcase. So I purchased a big suitcase, like a 125-liter suitcase. And honestly, because my mom's or my sister's suitcases weren't big enough for the stuff I need to bring. So I think that was the best, because if not, I couldn't bring my swim gear. So because what guarantees me that there's a kickboard for me or a pull buoy, even fins, it's big enough so that I can bring swim gear and just normal clothing and whatnot.
What about things you brought along or purchased that you haven't used at all or you don't really need?
I brought my Nintendo Switch and I didn't use it yet. Like the
not in the entire time you've been there.
Zero.
That's good and bad, I guess, right?
Yeah.
That means you're finding other things to do.
Yeah.
But still extra weight that you don't necessarily need to bring.
Yeah, it's dead weight. But I know eventually I have to use it like for a long train ride. But like in the train, I'll be on my laptop doing something like finishing up the vlog, or just doing research for my next trip. Yeah, the Switch. I opened it once just to recharge it. That's it. Because I said to myself, I'm going to play a game, plugged it in to recharge, didn't touch it.
One kind of final question I had for you is, after this 21 months is over, you'll certainly be a different person. And at some point I'll have to return to Canada or some sort of job or a job in a different country. So what's, after Fukuoka 2022 and this trip winds down, what's your plan after that?
Oh, well, we'll see. But initially, I know that in my field of work, I'm in high demand as a consultant in the ERP world.
And what do you do? What do you do for all the viewers out there?
I'm an ERP consultant using mainly implementing the product called NetSuite. So ERP means enterprise resource planning. So it's taking a financial system, but that's tied with, let's say, warehousing, inventory, manufacturing, web store. So everything is connected to each other. So it just helps to run your business better by looking at the financials in a different aspect of it. I might change and say, I'm done with consulting. I'll do something else in life. I might be a sheep herder, a swim coach, another dude. I could be, I don't know. I could be just a philosopher. I could become, I don't know. Yeah, but I need to look for a job for sure. And then we'll meet up in Fukuoka. I don't know what are your goals for Fukuoka in terms of swimming. Do you want to crush the 400 IM?
I'm at this point, I'm leaning of no longer swimming the 400 IM. I think it just killed the rest of my meet for me for a little while. I'm getting older. It's taking more out of me, but I have some personal goals. There are some times out there and some people that I would like to race against, and aging up means some world records are stretch attainable.
Oh,
So you
okay.
never know.
Do you want to tell to those people that you want to beat, saying, "Hey, I want to beat you"?
No, nothing like that. But
No.
if I get a little strength, the world records for those age groups are in play. So I need to get a little stronger.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm not that far off, less than a half second, which is doable. So
yeah, for sure.
Hey, if we'll give it a shot. I got a year and a half at this point to improve, and hope we can still getting faster with age.
I have one final question for you, Geoff.
Sure.
Surprise question is, what advice would you give me for my swim journey in general?
For your swim journey?
Yeah.
I think the advice I would have is just to enjoy the time in the water, but more importantly, meet the people that you're going to be around. First international competition I really did was 2014 Worlds in Montreal, just because it was a 4-hour drive for me, 4.5-hour drive from where I live. So I had no idea what Worlds even was, or no expectations of the meet or anything. And then just at that meet, I met Mirko, and I met Casey Flash from Australia, and I met some great people that from all over the world, and that group has just slowly expanded. So I met more people in Budapest in 2017, and then more people going to a couple of the Canadian nationals or short course nationals, and then more people in Gwangju, and your swimming network just really expands. So that to me is what makes the competition and makes the traveling fun, is that you just meet so many great people and you have friends around the world. So as you're making this journey, just enjoy being with the swimming people, and you're going to have a bigger community for the rest of your life because of it.
Yeah, for sure. That's one of my goals, and also to introduce him to karaoke, like what we've done with you.
There you go.
All right, let's finish the call with this. It was really good to talk to you, Geoff. It's been a while. Like, I know we've been chatting, but like talk face to like video to video.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, it was fun. Thanks for joining in on the call. And
thanks for having me.